Good morning. Wednesday, March 25th. Microphone is on. So let's get started. Things to know before the open. A few things going on. Stocks gain renewed optimism over Iran talks. We look over here, mostly green. Some of them considerably. Pre-market, 2.7% on AMD, 2.1% on Tesla. So most everything is green except for oil. Oil is going down again for the same reason, which is what we have here. Oil sinks on reports U.S. sent Iran a plan to end the war. Hopefully that's true. Hopefully that's happening. Meta targets a $9 trillion valuation with new incentive program for executives. So that's pretty incredible. We'll see what happens to Meta at the open. OpenAI shutting down Sora video app to cut costs ahead of potential IPO. Rumor has it they're going to IPO in 2026. That'll be interesting to watch. And Jefferies earnings due. I don't know what Jefferies is, so that's not something I'm too interested in. So that's done. Economic calendar. Let's look at this. I've reloaded already. Actually, I'll reload again. Just F5 for reload. 8:30 is what I'm looking at here. There's no 3 stars. We've got 1030 crude oil inventories. That might have an impact, obviously, on oil, but also on potentially SPY and Qs and other futures. Earnings, there's not much to look at. Earnings season's over. So I'm going to look at TradingView, 30-minute time frame. And I'll look at putting levels on my 10 tickers. And there we go. So Apple, where price is right now, room to the left. We were there yesterday, wicked up and rejected. So above this level over here might be interesting. This seems to be a level of resistance right now. So we'll put a level or an indicator over here because this is a possible interesting area. Could be resistance. If we break through it, I will look at it bouncing off of it as a break and retest because it might become support. AMD. Similar price action. We are above this zone here that has been here for a while. This was resistance. It has happened in post-market and pre-market. So this I would be looking at as a break. So the breakout happened yesterday here. If it were to come down here and retest the R3 level here, it might be a potential long. However, on the higher time frame over here, we might have a level, very small level right here. So I will put a level there. It would have to come in and reject this area over here for me to even think about a short. But right now, what's shaping up is that there was room to the left in pre-market. We have broken out of this area. If we come back and retest and we find some buying over here, potential long on AMD. Amazon. From where price is right now, there is room to the left. There was resistance over here. We are at R4. This is also something that broke out of an area in pre-market this morning. Like I was saying, most tickers are green this morning. So what I'm looking at is the potential of a retest. So it would have to come back down, retest, and show a lot of buying, a lot of price action showing that the buyers are in control if it did retest. Google's the opposite. Google was going down yesterday in pre-market, was showing some buying. However, as far as room to the left is concerned, we were there yesterday and we've come down from here. So as far as the long is concerned, I'm not too interested. Could happen, but for my setups, it's not ideal. This could be a potential level of resistance, right? It was a potential support over here. We hit against it, then broke down beneath it. And now let's put this level here, right? Pretty much where it was over here. Is it? Well, it's proving to be resistance in pre-market. So the thinking is this could be resistance. If it breaks out above it, it could be break and retest long. Personally, not too interested in Google just because there's not a lot of room to the left. This is all potential resistance over here, all these levels. Meta, 30-minute time frame. We were going sideways a few days ago after the big massive move on Monday. On Tuesday, we were going sideways during market hours. In pre-market, we came down, but then held. From where it is right now, it has not been in a while. So there is room to the left. It was pre-market yesterday, the last time it was there. However, Meta has news this morning. Just obviously, it's just them saying that they're calling out for a $9 trillion valuation. I'm not quite sure what year they said that would happen, but they have news. If it rejects up here, puts in a rejection candle, this could be a short, but there's a lot of potential support over here. So not crazy about Meta right now. Sideways price action on Microsoft yesterday. It broke down very early in the session, the first 30 minutes. But in the second 30 minutes, it just decided to stick around this area. If it were to come back down over here, let's put a level, Alt-H. If it were to come back down here and show a lot of buying, this might be a potential long. This candle right here is bearish because it tried to move price up on low volume because it is pre-market. If it were to put in a candle like this later in the session, it might be just more sellers jumping in and a potential short. However, you've got strong potential support over here. I say strong because every single 30-minute candle here during the session yesterday could not close below this level. NVDA was strong on Monday and then pulled back probably around 50%. Let's look at it just for the fun of it. The beginning of the impulse move was right here, and that was the high pullback, 50% on the nose. Then it pulled back into the golden zone and made new highs. But from where it is right now was a spot where we could not get any higher on Monday or Tuesday. So this could be potential resistance here. If it comes out and takes out liquidity above here, I'm going to put a level. If it takes out liquidity over here and we see a lot of selling, this might be a signal for me to short, not necessarily looking for the lows here, just basically looking for 3R. Tesla's been strong. I said on Monday that there were a lot of news coming out saying that that Tesla might have found a bottom. This was the big impulse move from news pre-market Monday, but it has been showing strong buying, even going through these areas of former support and resistance. So that's why I had these levels over here. From where price is right now, it could, at the open, it could pop up and start selling. This is a level of possible resistance. It is R4, which could be a selling area. Tesla could be very interesting. But like we said yesterday, be very careful with Tesla. It's a different animal. The only thing I'm looking at here is this zone right at R4. As far as the Qs are concerned, big pop up on Monday, pretty much sideways because we are unknown whether this news was going to pull through. Is it true that we're going to come to a resolution in the Middle East? Considering that's not known yet, we are still going sideways. As far as where price is concerned, for me, it would have to come up above over here. I will set a level because that is mainly what I look at is the Qs and SPY. Below price over here, big 30-minute fair value gap. We might come back down here and retest this level because this happened after hours yesterday. So if we were to come back into this area and retest, I might look at it, especially that it's about a 50% retracement from the beginning of the impulse move. And by that, I mean a very big green candle or a very big red candle, right? So this was an impulse move down, right? So if you look at this, and when we start retracing close to 50% of the impulse move. And that's why the fibs work very well. SPY, very similar price action. Big spike up on Monday, sideways going down a bit. Yesterday was finding resistance over here, but in after hours, it poked through, retested this level pre-market. I will also be looking at this level here for a possible breakdown or a possible finding buyers. But what I'm really interested in is what it does above this level here, if it goes above. Therefore, I will set an alert over here. That is set, and I will start looking at MNQ, MES. I got MNQ there twice, MGC, M2K. So those are the main futures that I'm going to be looking at. The other thing I wanted to share was what worked and what didn't work. I did take an Apple double top yesterday for plus 3R. I did take a screenshot and I will talk about it in a few minutes. And then what didn't work on my golden zone continuation for TopStep, I took a short. It wasn't really part of my strategy. It was just that it was at 50% retracement. It looked like it was resisting. I decided to go in short, and it reversed on me as soon as I got in. I don't know if anybody was looking at the market around 1047, 1050 yesterday. The market just shot up, and that's where I was taken out. It could have worked, but refining my strategy over here, I'm going to be a little bit more choosy, and I actually plan on sharing my trade book for this strategy if anybody is interested. That being said, 2 minutes before the open, I need to step away for a few minutes. So I will leave this on and I'll be right back. If there are any questions or comments or anything you guys want to share, you want to talk about, please don't hesitate. And I've got the chat on as well. So I'll be right back. Okay, good luck to anyone trading the open if anybody is getting into positions. I've said it many times that I no longer trade the open. I did for a long time, and going through my journal and just looking at all my trading, it wasn't profitable. It was profitable, but then I would give some back, and once I cut out, especially the first 5 minutes, it made a huge difference in my trading, and I think it had a lot to do with the people that I learned with and their style. But I realize that my style is not scalping. It's not, gambling at the open. I like looking at it, looking at what the price action is doing. I usually have it on SPY in the morning, and we see what SPY is doing, what the initial move is. I like to see where the levels are and what we're doing at these levels. But oftentimes, the first few minutes can just be a fake move. So that's why I don't even have to be in front of the computer for the first little while. If there's anything you guys are looking at, please don't hesitate to share. I said that I would share my Apple double top from yesterday. So considering I'm not really interested in what's going on in the first few minutes here, let's look at the Apple. So this was my trade here. It seems like a small move, right? But this was 3R, just under 3R. I took profit right here because I had to leave at 1 o'clock. So my take profit was right below this triangle right here. I think it was like around 253.40 for 3R. Had I been staying at home, and I know I could have put a range order, but I was right at the computer and just about to leave. It was just under 3R, so I just exited the position right here. Had I been sitting at the computer, I would have left it in here, because there is no, especially on a 5-minute time frame, there's no indication that this is going higher. Right. So especially with these, especially when we broke under this level, this right here was my target, just below these 2 wicks, or just right at these 2 wicks. And you can tell that I got out right before it. So I wanted to share it on TradingView just to show what it was that I was looking at. I will go to the 5-minute time frame. So this was the structure right here. There was room to the left of the first high here. If I remember correctly, it was also at a Camarilla level. I could hit replay, I guess, and I think it'll reprint. Yeah, so it was just above R3 here. It was below R4, and then I will go candle by candle here. There we go. So that was the second top. It did go a little bit higher than the first, but then once this candle printed, I zoomed into the 1-minute time frame. And once this candle printed, I looked for a 1-minute bearish candle, which this one was, but I wanted to see breaking down right here was the bearish candle. I actually waited for a 1-minute fair value gap to form. So we can see it right here. That was my entry. So the entry, oh, actually, no, I think I waited right until it was under R3. I can't really tell, but my stop was just above the wick of the previous bearish candle, so above the fair value gap. So this pretty much shows the trade that I took here. It wasn't on TradingView, but you can tell that right at 1 o'clock, before 1 o'clock, it was right around here that I took the exit at 253.38 area. It was right above these 2 wicks here. So anyway, that was a +3 trade, my only trade of the day yesterday. except for the Combine trade, which I will share in a few minutes. So, interesting level on SPY here. There's, and that's the alert I just got. There is a possible resistance just above pre-market high, right? We touched it in pre-market right after this really big 5-minute candle, touched it again. Sorry, that was yesterday. This was 4 o'clock this morning, and again at 8 o'clock this morning. So it's right at an area of interest. So what's it going to do here? Does it spike up and reject? Do we see the book loading up on the bid? Or do we break out of this area and continue? So that's what I want to see here. Interesting candle on Apple. This is a rejection candle, the first 5-minute here. If the second 5-minute is also a rejection, that might be a short signal. It might just be profit taking. I need to get out of replay mode. I just want to see where we are. We are under R3 on Apple. So I want to see what the price action tells me. I want to see what happens with this candle here on Apple. The fact that it wicked up a little bit higher, I was there just in pre-market. So as far as room to the left, there is, but there's these 2 wicks here. So, I mean, liquidity is above this. So not 1,000% sure I would take it. ARM jumps 15% as company expects revenue windfall. I don't know if anybody's trading ARM. I saw it a little bit earlier that it was high. Where is it? ARM right there. So 15.8% jump. That's quite the jump. Over here. There you go. So from the close yesterday, just 134.50. What was it? Or 135 was the close yesterday. Now it's at, or it reached 154 in pre-market. Now it's broken out above that. Don't know if they had earnings. ARM, no, they didn't have earnings, just news. ARM Holdings maintained at buy. Stock jumps 10% after falling on plan to sell own chips. ARM Holdings is maintaining at overweight by Wells Fargo. So I don't know if anybody trades this stuff. Seems very strong. Might be extended. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, that is quite the jump, quite the gap. Possible resistance here just at the top of this wick, but just basically in this range over here, but not something I trade. Let's put this back on the, oh, I gotta get rid of a lot of these lines here, remove all lines, and back to the 5-minute. Apple, very interesting. What are you doing at this level? If it starts selling over here below 254, it could be a short. It's difficult to put a stop on this because the stop would have to be above the wick, right? And it just dipped down. You would assume that if we're really selling here that it would have taken off. Could be happening. So this is my kangaroo tail strategy. The reason I'm not taking it is because we were here just yesterday, right? And we wicked up here and it did not take out the liquidity above there. Had it wicked a little bit higher, or if it came back and wicked a little bit higher, I possibly would have taken it. But this could be a short. And first target would be 253, and then second target PDC. See, that is very interesting. Don't like that it closed green. However, this is a rejection candle on SPY. So I will put SPY on my screen. Actually, I want to put MES on my screen and see what it's doing. MES. MES is above R3. And SPY is right at R3 on 5. So we'll see. Interesting levels here. I want to see who ends up being in charge. Tesla putting in that rejection candle as well. It did take out a liquidity above. I'm going to zoom in on Tesla on the 1 minute time frame. And it is above R4. If it came below 393, it could come down to the 390 area. The low of this candle is 393.03. So I want to see what it does if it starts selling below 393. Similar candle on Google, right? Taking out liquidity above pre-market high. Again, not a hurry. Just want to see what the candles do. Want to see what price action does. A similar candle as well on Meta. Right? But once this rejection candle prints, if it breaks the low, if sellers are really in control, sometimes you would expect it to move pretty fast. It's not happening right now. Same thing with Apple, right? It broke down, but there's buyers over here. So I'm not trusting it yet. I'm also going to put the SPY puts on my screen. I'm going to put the 660 puts. Oh, they're probably spiking right now. Yes, they are. Yeah, just because we broke down below here, now is the spike sustained? If it goes above 247, then it could be a continuation here. We had a spike in the puts, now it's moving. So this could be coming down. And whoops, I'm looking at Apple. I'm looking at the SPY puts, but the price action is very similar. So there you go. So we've got a pullback in SPY, similar pullback in NES. Just for the fun of it, this trade right here, taking the short on the low here on the SPY puts would be a 3R already. Let me just take a screenshot to show you what I mean by that. So those are the SPY puts. This was entry right over here around 207, right? If you're, let's say it was a 15, let's say a 20 cent R value stop loss. Your one R would be right over here, right? And then, so let's say it's 25 cents. So from entry, that's 1, 2, 3 R, right around there. That's the beauty of options. But they can be incredibly difficult, especially now that we're hesitating right now. So the puts are going to pull back. But they can be very, very profitable. Similar move in Qs, but not as violent, right? As by that, I mean, we did not break down as much as we did in SPY. The Apple move so far is down 1 R, right? One length of this candle from entry below, right, to where price is right now, just under 1 R. 2 would be down here and 3 would be around 250. So that's why I mean by this long wick here makes it difficult to put a stop. Very interesting price action on Tesla. It broke down below 393, but the low's 392.94. So for it to be a real short, it would have to come down a pre-market high, which was 392.55 area. Now that SPY put that I was looking at is now up to $3. There you go. So if entry had been over here, it just made its way up to 3. So from 205 to 3. And if anybody ever wants to learn about these, they're incredible, and they're not as, I mean, puts go up when the stock goes down. So you're always buying, which is nice. And instead of shorting, right, when you're shorting a stock, it can go, when you're buying a stock, it can only go to 0. Right, so you can't go any lower than 0. But with SPY, when you're shorting something, it can go to 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000. Right, obviously it's not quickly anyway. But the downside is I can't remember the term. It's your downside is unlimited. Right, but with puts, when you're buying puts, they can only go to 0. So that's one of the advantages of put options, is that it's not an unlimited risk. Your risk is absolutely limited. And everything's multiplied by 100. So if I had bought one put contract, let's say $2, just to make it simple, it would have cost $200. So your risk, if it went to 0, would be $200. It's as simple as that. And when it goes to 3, well, that's a $1 move times 100 is $100. So on one contract, this is $100. Right? But the risk wasn't really $2. The risk was 15 cents from 2 to 185. Right? Because you would stop out if it went over there. Right? So it's not really $2, it's only 15 cents. So you can, if your risk is $100, then you can take way more than one contract. You can take 7 or 8 contracts. So that $1, which translates to $100, is not really $100. It's $700 or $800. Right? That's the simplest way I can explain it. But people make options out to be incredibly complicated. There are parts of options that are absolutely complicated. Once you start mixing strategies, buying calls and selling puts, or buying calls and buying puts, just to hedge your trades, they can be very, very complicated. So the rejection of this area over here, and the short at this candle right here would have worked. Let's put it on trading view here. So the short would have been, let me put the short tool, short would have been at the break of a new low. If you put your stop aggressively just above the wick of the entry candle, and you bring this to 3R, right there, let's see if you would have been able to get 3 to 1. Honestly, with that wick right there, like my Apple trade yesterday, my 3 to 1 was below the wick, so I just moved it up. I moved it up right pretty much there. Right, because I know there's a lot of stops below here, and we might just wick down and then take off. Right, so that's how I move it. So instead of being 3R, it's 2.79. Let's leave it at 3, and let's see if it works out. The Apple, very similar. Apple, I am on a 2-minute. I'm going to go to the 1-minute time frame. Actually, no, go to the 5-minute because that's my rule. On this candle right here, the short would be on the break of a new low. Considering this candle right before it had a wick down here, I would not have entered unless we broke down below there. And if your stop is at the entry, then 3 to 1 is very easily reached right there. But if your stop, let's say with a long wick like this, I often put my stop just above 50%. So that's, your stop would have been about half the candle. So then your 3R is a little bit further down, but would have been reached again. All right, so there you go. That's two successful kangaroo tail trades here that I did not take. Kind of regret not taking this one. I was just pulling up the puts, and as I was pulling them up, they were taking off. So I missed the entry on this. Don't like that it's so early in the session. I mean, this would have been, 10 minutes after the open. But that often happens. Same trade on Meta here. Right? There's the wick. There's a rejection above pre-market high, above yesterday high. So all this buying that pushed the price above pre-market or above yesterday's high was on very low volume. So then we open up the market and we open it up to a lot of volume, and then we find out, or the algorithms or the market makers find out that there's not really anybody interested in buying above 603. So they need to bring the price down. So let's look at Meta and see if that one would have been a 3R. Meta, let's go to the 5-minute. That's my strategy right there. And the fact that it's at R3 or just below R3 makes the strategy even better. With the short tool, there's a short entry on the break of a new low. Long wick, my stop would have been, depending how aggressive you feel, you can put it, and it's Meta, so Meta can wick and can have violent moves similar to Tesla. Let's say you put your stop right above the level, right above the wick here, and then you move it down to 3R. And you do this before entry just to see. I mean, I'm expecting if it's rejecting R3, it's probably going to make its way to S3. So then you figure out, okay, yeah, it can make it there. So I'll take that trade. But you have to be careful because you have to break down below low of day. It's better, but riskier if you put your wick just above the entry candle. Right? That was the entry. And then your 3R is right there. And we just done not quite there yet. Right, but more aggressive means you're going to get stopped out more often. So let's see if this one works. Apple would have worked. SPY, we're almost there. Meta, price is right here, right now. We're not quite there yet, but we'll revisit in a few minutes. Tesla is the one that I said I would not have taken unless it showed a lot of selling below 393. That has not happened yet. Right? We wicked down, but we don't really see a bearish candle below pre-market high, which is 393. Anything else? Microsoft, nothing. NVDA, nothing that I would trade. Google, not ideal. Like you look at this, which one was it? It was a SPY that it closed green, which makes it not ideal. But then when we saw, especially when I saw the put contracts take off, and they're at 4, they made it up to 430, by the way. So that's more than 100% from entry, right? That's the incredible part of options. They're up 100%. What was I saying? This Kangaroo wick, right? It went up above, rejected, but it closed green, meaning that had it closed red, it would have been a very, very bearish candle. And the other thing I don't like about it is that the body of the bearish kangaroo tail candle is not entirely within the range of the previous candle. So that's one of my be careful. What happened with Meta? We have not gone to exactly 3R yet, 2.99. PDD up 5% if anybody trades that. Approaching 10 a.m. Is where I really start looking a little bit closer. These two levels here are pre-market low as well as yesterday's high. Right? Yesterday's high, pre-market low. This is pre-market high. So we've got some levels that could be strong support over here, similar to SPY. On Qs, they're basically at the same spot. Same thing on Tesla here. So yesterday's high and pre-market low because of the gap up here after hours yesterday. Did we say if there was 10 o'clock news? No, 10:30 crude oil inventories. So the first 30-minute candle is about to close. That would have been a really nice trade on Apple and on Qs. Options are close to 450 now. So meaning if we came in at 2, that's a $2 move, $2.50 move. So $250 per contract. Obviously 10 contracts. And that's what $150 risk would have been. 10 contracts would have been $2,500. And now it's spiking up again, 495. We must be really dropping. Right. Any questions on this? On the options, on the put options? Feel like I'm alone in here today. Right. So if entry would have been at 2, right over here. I know it's a little bit above 2, but let's just say 2 just to make the numbers simple. We're at 510 right now, so that's a $3 move. Right, so 300 per contract, 10 contracts, $3,000 on a $150 risk. Right, because I said the entry was at 2, your stop was at 185, so 15 cents to times 10 is 150. So 10 contracts would be $150 risk for a $3,000 move. They don't always happen like this, but they often do. Now, this is a very interesting level here, right? So this was from after hours yesterday. This was support, right? We broke out of this area. We supported it. We supported it again around 6 p.m. Then again in pre-market. Now we're dipping down. So the kangaroo tail short that I was explaining over here works on the other side as well. So this could shape up as a kangaroo tail long. And if this closes around the 657, then those puts are going to come crashing down, right? That's the thing with put options. I mean, if you're trying to day trade them, be very careful because they're going to crash down. What's the high of this candle? 657. I want to see what happens at 657. Let's put the book back on SPY. There it goes. Down come the put options. I like the kangaroo tail candle to close, and the way my strategy works, it's on a 5-minute candle. So I want to see it close. I want to see what happens at the close, and then once it closes, I want to see the break, and a strong break of that candle. Hasn't happened yet. That MetaTrade just hit target. So the Meta short over here just hit the 3-hour target. The Apple has gone beyond, and the SPY has reached it as well. So all 3 of those kangaroo tail strategies worked. But now I'm looking at the possibility of this 5-minute candle closing right here. It can't go too much higher because then it's no longer a kangaroo tail. The wick needs to be 2/3. Or close to 2/3. I'm not pulling out my ruler, and I'm not, pulling out my calculator to figure it out, just eyeballing it. Right now, the wick is about half the candle. But it's still a strong signal that buyers are stepping in. And like I said, these 2 lines here, pre-market low, as well as yesterday's high, could be a strong level of support. And it turns out that it was. This pullback on Tesla, also interesting. So this really starting to look like a break and a retest of this level. Let's see what happens above 393.20. Do we break above 393.20 and really start buying? If so, it could be a long, aiming for high day and beyond. Okay, so the candle closed somewhat as an indecision candle. Same thing in Qs. Above, I've got my puts on the screen still. If I see them really drop, then it means that this is probably breaking the high of this 5-minute candle. But it hasn't proven anything yet. We don't know who's in control. Similar price action on NVDA here. The breakout, retesting this level. I am going to put NVIDIA, and especially the 1-minute candles on my screen. I want to see what it does above 179. Let's break 179 and hold. Yeah, so I'm long NVIDIA on the break and retest. My stop is just below pre-market high. Like I said, pretty similar price action on an AMD. $78.33. 30. It'd be fun if the one that I just explained 3 or 4 here that would have worked, Apple, Meta, SPY. It'd be nice if this one worked as well. As far as the break, the retest, going long on a new 5-minute high. Actually, I did it on a new strong 1-minute candle. I'm going to pay attention to price action here. And if we really reject the 179.50 area, I might move in my stop a little bit. Depending on price action. Right now, I'm okay with it. Stop is below that pre-market high level. This is on smaller size when I take equities trades. Larger size I do with options and eventually with futures. I definitely want to see what it does if it makes it up to the 179.80 area. Let's look at the book. It is somewhat balanced right now, right? Large order at 179.10, but some pretty big orders, 179.50 area. So let's see what happens there. So this was a bit of a wide stop. 179.12 was an entry. 178.30 was the stop. So I need to make it up to 181, just above 181 for 3R. And R6 is at 180.60. So I might bring it down a tiny bit if I feel that we're having trouble making it up to 3R. If SPY and Qs reverses and breaks down, I might even bring this stop to break even or closer, because if we start making new lows on SPYs and Qs, I fully intend NVIDIA to follow suit, or vice versa. NVIDIA seems to have a huge role in dictating what happens in SPY and Q because it is such a big part of those ETFs. Anybody else see anything? Double top possible on AMD. I to 1868. Curious to see what happens with this candle right here. AMD. It is above R6, which I usually don't like shorting above R6. Does it ever happen to you guys that you're in a trade and you kind of hope that, a tweet comes out saying, "No, everything's resolved. Ukraine, Russia has been resolved. Iran is resolved," especially when you're long. That's where my brain goes. Like, why can't we get a nice tweet here that's goes in our favor? I'm sure I'm not the only one. Shane, thanks for sharing. Q's 589. Yeah, see, we're popping, making new highs. NVIDIA can pop and hold above 179.50. I might bring my stop closer to entry. Because at this point, if it breaks, yeah, leaving it there for now. MES. 15 more minutes. 66.57. I'm setting an alert on MES for a pullback into the 50 to 61 or the golden zone from the impulse move at the top. From the impulse move here to the bottom, if we retrace 50% or in that zone, which I'm explaining it on SPY, but I'm looking at MES. I want to see what's going to happen at that 50% retracement area. I'm going to move my stop below 175, 178, below this 5-minute candle here on NVIDIA, which is below R4, 178.80. 178.80. Right? Because if it breaks the low of this candle over here, it almost seems like it's changing characters. If it's having trouble, what's going on with my double top? Actually, hang on a second. For 1 minute. 218.24 on AMD. What didn't I like about it? The fact that it's above a R6. Yeah. This could be a short here, right? Another pullback back to the 214 area here. I can't take it because it's above R6. AMD below 218 here would be very interesting. If it makes a bearish candle and then breaks the low of that bearish candle, and yes, is crossing my level. So I'm going to look at it. All right, so MES is touching the 50% retracement. Just touched it. I'd like it to go inside of it as long as my levels are perfect. Here, I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so from the, here I'll redraw it just so that you see how I do it. There's my fib tool. From the impulse move, right? This was the high right here, and we couldn't make a new high. So it from this area, it really broke down. So from here to this wick down here, I want to see, because the move is down. Theoretically, right now, the move is down. It's very bearish. We are slowly retracing. We're going back up to the 50%. Now, what I want to see is, do we wick up into that 50% into this zone here? And then what it is I'm looking at is I want to see that we wicked up, we rejected, and we put in a 1 or a 2 minute fair value gap, as in we skip down. We start seeing some really strong selling. If that's the case, it's a possible short from, let's say it's there. This would be above the wick, right? And I would measure. I'm expecting it to go back to the low. Can we get it to 3? Yes. Right? We can. So that's visually eyeballing it. That's what I look at. So for now, I'm still just waiting, seeing if it breaks up above 66.58.25. Like it to spike up there and then reject from there for possible entry. And what I'm looking at here would basically show itself in SPY, right? Because they're obviously related. Not feeling too confident on my my NVDA trade right now. Not happening quickly enough. My stop at this point, if we make a new low below 179, which is just, where's my stop? I tweet NVIDIA. Yeah, my stop is just below 179 right now, 178.80. So I'll leave it there for now. Especially not knowing what's going to happen here. Back to MES. I'm going to set another alert on MES at 66.58. It might happen right now, but I don't like that it just touched the 50. I'd like it to actually breach the 50. I'd like to see another wick go in it. Right? And it seems like it's happening now. All right, I want to see it go up above here and reject, and then put in a 1 minute or a 2 minute fair value gap. There you go. My alert is triggered. We wicked into there. So I'll bring up my calculator again. Bring the tool up to MES. Entry would be around 66.50. I'll share it on screen in a minute. Entry is 66.50. Stop would have to be above the wick, 66.59. 66.59 at that's 8 contracts. So it just gives me an idea. of how many contracts that I would short. And that's the calculator I was showing yesterday. The tool is MES. The account size for the TopStep Combine is 50,000. Risk I've put at 400. Entry at 66.50. Stop loss 9 points higher. So $45 per risk at $400 risk. It calculates that I would short 8 contracts, and I would need to try to go to 66.23. So you go over here and you look, where's 66.23 for 3R? It's a little bit low, right? It's below the low here. So as far as RVR is concerned, I would have to have a bit of a tighter stop. So I'm not sure if I put in the right, oh, because I went below this this one here. So let's see what happens now. Wicking up again, moving up. Possible rejection. You know what? I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second because I need to look at something that I haven't checked what I'm sharing here. That's it there. MES. And trading view. So stop would be 66.61. There you go. Entry. We don't know yet because it hasn't put in a 2-minute fair value gap. The entry was close to where it is now, 66.54. 3R target is 66.33 now, which is above the area. There's the drop. I'm going to miss it. Oh, I forgot I'm not sharing my screen. There you go. I didn't put in the right amount of contracts, but it's okay. There we go. And there we go. So that's what happens when we're sharing on screen. And go back to the meet and share again. So in the Combine, I took a short. Yeah, that's, but it just wicked again. What the hell is going on? Share, good thing I put my my stop in. Yeah, there you go. That's why you put the stops in. And it wasn't on full size. So let's look at what I just did. With 3 minutes left, let's go back to MES. There you go. So I should have let the 2-minute candle close. That was a mistake. When I saw they caught me on it. Aggressive stop was right above the wick, right here. Conservative stop is above the 61.8. But with a larger stop like that, I would have had to be aiming for S3 over here, and that's possible. But I went in a little bit more aggressive, and just like yesterday, it just, obviously I'm not the only one looking at this, so they know that there's stops up here. So it just waked up, stopped me out, and the move could happen now. But according to my rules with TopStep, I said I would only take 1 trade a day. However, I only went in with half the risk because I didn't calculate it quickly enough. But let's see, does it put in a 2-minute fair value gap? Do we really see selling start happening? When we see a big wick like this, it means that there was a lot of buyers that came in here at the central pivot range. So we'll see what happens. Not real money. And then when we're looking at real money, my NVIDIA trade is working out. It filled was there a tweak? Yeah, who knows? With wicks like this, it's hard to tell. Hard to tell what's going on here. Just full disclosure on NVIDIA, I've brought my stop back to break even, just because at this point, if it comes back down here, it's not worth, especially that it's made a new high, not worth putting on the 1 hour risk. So I'm back at break even here. My take profit is just above 181. So we'll see what happens here. Let's see if this wick was actual buying. And if so, then it might be good for the NVIDIA trade, which is okay because that's the only one that's real money. The TopStep is trying to pass the Combine, but I was a little bit premature on the entry because according to my rules, and I will make a video about this, but according to my rules, a 2-minute, I prefer for a 2-minute fair value gap to print. And we did not print one. We just wicked, right? So on the 1 minute, did it print one? Let's see. There's a big gap down, but it didn't really print because the next candle just wicked right up. So there you go. That was a little bit of a mistake, and I'm expecting that as I'm presenting at the same time, trying to do six things at the same time, makes it a little bit difficult, and that's okay. Hey, if I don't pass this Combine, I'll get another one, and that second one I probably won't do live. I'll probably learn my lesson. This candle here on SPY is incredibly telling. If it closes near the bottom and we start selling here, this thing could flush easily to 253. Another 10 seconds. It's unlikely that it's going to close red. And it is 10:30. My alarm is going to go off. There it is. I'm going to step away, and I'll share tomorrow what happened with the NVIDIA trade. And if I end up going in again on the Combine, considering I did not go full risk on it, I will likely just wait until tomorrow. And actually, I'm not in tomorrow. I'll put something in the Discord. I cannot make it tomorrow. Prior engagement, I will be back on Friday. So hopefully, those of you who are listening, hopefully it's beneficial. At the end of the day, it's beneficial for me because I'm just basically explaining what it is that I'm doing, talking myself into and out of different trades. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thank you, Shane. Good luck on those trades, and good luck, everyone. All right, have a great day. See you on Friday.